I love that everyone was talking, but let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I would like to welcome everyone. Love all the green I see out there. And I wanted to take a special time to welcome the candidates who are attending tonight. We know it's very humbling. All of us can say that, putting your name on a ballot and sitting up here. So I just wanted to take a moment, and if you're here, if you could please stand, and we will recognize you. So we will go in the way it will be on the ballot. So Megan Marshall, David Thompson, Matt Newald, Brian Osterman, Kim Fritchie, Kathy Campbell, Larry Anderson, Christine Bushyhead, and Mark Leach. Anyway, thank you all for coming tonight, and we wish you the best. Now, can I have an adoption of the agenda, please?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. 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 All those opposed? Great, thank you. Dr. Miller, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Dohm. I want to start with congratulations to Lee Summit West's Cooper Carr, a Summit Technology Academy digital media student who earned third place for his original song at the University of Missouri's 2020 Creating Original Music project. Congratulations to the Lee Summit North students and Bernard Campbell Middle School students' acceptance into the 7-state honor choir by the Southwest Choral Directors Association. Leanna Bandelier, Kaylin Byrne, Addison Davies, C.J. Gilbert, Nathan Heradia, Madison Tinsley, and Elaine Watson. The Missouri Association of Elementary School Principals recognized Longview Farm Elementary Principal Kim Hassler as the 2020 Exemplary New Principal, and Hawthorne Hill Elementary Principal Dr. Troy Hogg as Regional Principal of the Year. The district hosted a K-6 Parent Dyslexia Information Night on February 27th, featuring a presentation by Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education dyslexia specialist Kim Stuckey, followed by a question and answer session. The Missouri legislative session is well underway with several education bills expected to be debated in the coming weeks. We encourage those who want to keep up and track bills that would impact LSR7 to consider signing up for our R7 advocacy newsletter. The Lee Summit R7 School District is taking proactive steps for prevention and safety regarding the novel coronavirus COVID-19, and it's preparing to implement additional action steps, such as virtual learning, to keep students and staff safe as we navigate this rapidly evolving situation. This should be a time not for panic, but rather a time for preparedness. We're all partners in safety, and it benefits all of us to work together to implement strategies to prevent and limit the spread of the novel coronavirus. Visit lsr7.org to learn about our comprehensive action plan to address the coronavirus. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Now the fun part of our meeting. We're going to start off with presentations and recognitions. Jackie, you have 3.01.
Thank you. My first recognition of the evening is Longview Farm Elementary Principal Kim Hassler, the newly ordained exemplary new principal of the year 2020, and she's going to introduce a video highlighting the school's history and traditions. The video will feature students George Sutherland, Grace Whaley, and Camden Bond as narrators. Are they with you, Principal Hassler? Thank you.
Now I'm on. Okay, good evening. Thank you for letting us be here tonight. I'm introducing my three narrators here. I have Grace Whaley, George Sutherland, and Camden Bond, and you're going to see them featured in our video. And I'm going to give Justin Bond, he's back there in the corner of the room, credit because he is the one that put together this amazing video for us. So I'll let you watch it and enjoy. Okay, go ahead.
Welcome to Longview Farm Elementary, located on what is known as the world's most beautiful farm during the early 1900s. Longview Farm was built by lumber baron and philanthropist Robert A. Long. The 1,700 acres that would become the historic farm were purchased in 1909. Over 50 buildings were built on the farm. Sadly, by the 1970s, many of the remaining buildings on the farm had fallen into disrepair. In 2004, a bond issue passed in the Lee Summit School District and the birth of an elementary school began. The project was unique and many decisions were made to redesign the show horse arena close to its original structure. There is even a marker in the front of the school commemorating Revelation, one of Lulu Longcomb's favorite horses. Our library is where the former horse stalls existed. Even our principal's office was a stall. Our music room is where they kept carriages and the equipment for the horses. The gym and the cafeteria were constructed using horse stall walls while keeping the integrity of the show arena itself. Many of the farm structures have been placed on the National Register of Historic Places, including Longview Farm Elementary. Today, our staff and students honor the traditions, legacies, and character traits of the Long family. Classrooms have signs that say, "Be like Lula," and show traits such as be respectful, be kind to animals, and be a good sport. The Long family was known for being kind, caring, helpful, hardworking, and honest, and those are traits we discuss at school. Our sixth graders have an award named the R.A. Long Leadership Award that is given to a deserving teacher voted on by sixth grade students, highlighting those character traits. There is also a Lula Longcomb's Legacy Award given to two sixth graders for demonstrating those character traits as well. Thanks to the R.A. Long Foundation, our first graders attend the American Royal each fall in honor of Lula's prominence at the American Royal for over 50 years. She also held many horse shows for various charities in the Kansas City area. Each grade level creates a legacy page in the yearbook, highlighting things such as the animals of the farm, the map of the farm, raising up new stallion leaders, committing to charitable contributions to a local veterinary clinic and animal shelter, and showing community service at school and in the community. Each spring, the first graders have a Rootin' Tootin' Roundup, and the entire school participates in the Derby Day Run in May on the mansion property. Derby Day is a day when students walk and run during their specials time and raise money for our school. Leaders in excellence and service is our school's mission. We are proud of the unique structure of our school, but more importantly, we are dedicated to excellence in learning and giving back to others in the tradition of the Long family. This is Longview Farm Elementary. This is Longview Farm Elementary. This is Longview Farm Elementary.
So anytime you want to come out for a tour, that's one of my favorite things to do, but I'm guessing these three could take you on a tour as well. So nice job. Thank you very much, all three of you. Thank you.
Our next presentation or recognition will be for the National Merit Scholarship finalists. Founded in 1955 to conduct the annual Merit Scholarship competition, the National Merit Scholarship Corporation is a privately financed, not-for-profit corporation that operates without government assistance. Scholarships awarded through the program are underwritten by nearly 500 independent sponsor organizations and institutions, as well as the corporation's own funds. Nearly 1.5 million students throughout the United States entered the 2017 Merit Program as juniors by taking the preliminary SAT, National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, which serves as the initial screen of program entrance. Congratulations to our 2020 National Merit Scholar finalists, Lee Summit High School students Daniela Archdeacon, Ivy Liu, and Josh Raywalt received a certificate of merit and will be considered for prestigious national merit scholarships. Congratulations. Come forward, please. Congratulations again for all your good work.
I'm up. Ready for it? I have the honor tonight of recognizing our athletic trainers. And during March, we recognize our district's valuable athletic trainers. These highly skilled professionals dedicated themselves to the health and safety of our student athletes. Our entire Lee Summit R7 community appreciates the work you do and your positive impact on student success. Tonight, representing the athletic trainers is Susie Humphreys, Lee Summit West athletic trainer. She will be representing them tonight.
Thank you all.
Okay, 3.04. Tonight we want to celebrate our outstanding R7 Modern Language Department teachers during, or what was, National Foreign Language Week, which was held March 2nd through the 6th this year. Our students, staff members, and families appreciate the work of these educators who share their knowledge and help prepare students for our rapidly changing global society. Lori Lynn Shipman, Spanish teacher at Summit Lakes Middle School, will be representing all staff members in this area to be recognized tonight.
Three 3.05. During this week, we recognize our district's math, engineering, technology, and science teachers and the positive influence they have on our students. Our entire community is grateful for your commitment to providing outstanding instruction in this important area. Sherry Kane, 7 through 12 math curriculum specialist, will represent all staff members in this department.
All right, Another recognition. During the special week, we honor and celebrate the accomplishments of our guidance counselors as part of National Counselors Week. Staff and students and families appreciate the impact of our counselors, obviously, that they have on ensuring that school is a safe and caring learning environment for our students. Counselors Daphne Mack from Lee Summit Elementary and Christy Mann from Mason Elementary will be in attendance representing our counseling peers, or their counseling peers.
All right, 3.07, recognize the Principals Day. It is my honor. During March, we recognize our principals and assistant principals who lead the way in creation of a positive learning environment in our schools. Our students, staff, and families are grateful for our leadership in your community, in our school, and our school community. What the Dones like to call Coach Dr. Whitney Moorhead, Assistant Principal at Summit Lakes Middle School, is representing all principals and assistant principals at March board meeting. Come on in. Yay.
All right, we're going on the second round, 3.08. The reason all the green is in the room tonight, it's not about St. Patrick's Day. We're going to recognize the state champions, Lee Summit West Robotics Team Titanium. Why don't you guys start coming on up? Okay, we've got a lot to say about this team. This recognition tonight is actually 2 years coming. They had success last year, and we'll tell you about that. Team Titanium Tech, which is the freshman-sophomore robotics team from Lee Summit West High School, won the FTC, which is First Tech Challenge. It's a MoCan State Championship in Rolla this past Saturday, March 7th. Part of the FIRST, that's all caps, which stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology, Progression of Robotics Programs. FTC is open to teams of middle school and high school students. During qualification matches, Team Titanium Tech seeded first out of 24 teams in the S, that's SAM, division. They selected the Bosons from Eureka High School and Revolution Robots from Chaffee as their alliance partners for the playoff rounds, and went on to win the S division. This advanced the alliance to the finals, where they competed against the winners of the T, as in Tango division, which also included 2 teams from Parkville and 1 from Olathe. Team Titanium Tech and their alliance partners prevailed in the best 2 out of 3 finals to be named MoCan State Champions. This is the second year in a row that the Lee Summit West FTC team has won this title. Team Titanium has been nationally ranked these 2 years and currently is the second-ranked team out of approximately, are you ready? 8,000 teams. And you'd guess by the number 8,000, that doesn't mean they're just competing here in Missouri, Kansas, and the region. That's 8,000 teams competing worldwide based on competition statistics. Winning the MoCan State Championship competition qualifies the team to advance to the next level of competition, the First Tech Challenge World Championship, which will hopefully is still, nope, it's canceled. Okay, well, sorry. I remember when y'all went last year, so that was exciting. I was in Houston then, but they only let me stay for about 24 hours for work. So I'm sorry to hear that. The Lee Summit West varsity robotics team, Team Titanium, qualified for the first robotics competition championship in Houston at the FRC competition, which was held February 28th through March 1st at Lee Summit North. And folks, I was up in the stands and up in the catwalk watching you both days. So that was great fun to see you all compete so eagerly, as well as the North team too, just a side note. The team, just to be, nobody throwing anything at me here. The team seeded first out of 36 teams at that tournament and ended as the captain of the finalist alliance. The varsity team competes again, maybe not. Nope, no, okay, well, let's just say they were supposed to compete March 19th through 21st in Memphis, which I assume that's Tennessee and not Memphis, Missouri. And April 3rd through 5th in Sedalia, not the, okay, I'm getting the, so we're getting a theme here. Coronavirus killing our season, which would have been prior to the competition in Houston. Now, our coaches for the FTC team and the FRC team are Nikki Spatz and Jeff Spatz. Where are you all? Are you back here or are you already up here? I can't see you. I'm the worst possible person to see over a crowd. Nancy, I'm sorry. Nancy's right in front of me here on the screen. The assistant coaches for the Lee Summit West Robotics program are Aaron Bond and Nate Wetmore. And are they up here too? No, come on up. Okay, if they're all right, I can't see. So we've got the team up here, and what I'd like for the coaches to do is to let each of the students say their names so everybody is individually recognized. This is a big deal. We're excited for y'all, and especially since the season isn't going to progress like we would want it for all the teams. So why don't we, do you want to start over here, Maren? Yeah, let's get all those other green shirts up here for the big photo op if anybody wants to be in it that isn't up here already. While we're taking the pictures, these teams, it's not cheap to participate. Each team, as I understand it, it takes about $70,000 per team, and we have 3 high school teams and middle school activities. So tonight, we want to also acknowledge that this Lee Summit West Robotics program is funded by corporate sponsors and donations, and those supporters include Venture Industrial, Billy Goat Industries, Hawthorne Bank, Paradise Park, Kansas City Realty, Casey STEM Alliance, Ford, National Instruments, IBM, American Century Investments, SPX, Energy Transfer, and Protective Industrial Products. The team members' families, coaches, mentors, and I know community supporters who make donations all support this team. And I think this is the longest recognition anybody up here has ever had. And it is so well deserved. I know everybody's proud of you all. And I think that's the parade here in Lee Summit for green this year.
right, we're going to move on into our public comments, and we will have our parliamentarian, Kim Fritchie, address the public comment section. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Doan. We appreciate your attendance and your willingness to speak to the board. I wanted to take a moment to share a few guidelines. Please remember, while this is a meeting held in the public, it is not a public meeting. The board does not respond to public comments during the meeting. We want to hear what you have to say, and your comments will be noted by the board, and if appropriate, we will direct the subject to the administrators who are responsible for that particular subject matter. As parliamentarian, I'm going to exercise my authority to keep comments within a reasonable time limit. Therefore, we will be limiting all comments to no more than 3 minutes tonight and no more than 20 minutes total pursuant to the board policy BDDH. Your allotted 3 minutes will be counted down on the screen. Only those who have signed up on the comments from the public form prior to the meeting will be allowed to address the board. We ask that you refrain from using the names of any students or staff in your remarks and remain respectful. Lastly, when your name is called, go to the podium and clearly state your name and the organization you represent, if any. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our first public speaker is Heather Crane.
Thank you. Good evening. I am here tonight with Lee Summit NEA to express ongoing concern in regard to inequities in certificated support and classified employee compensation within our district and the insurmountable workload being asked of our teachers. Currently, new employees are granted years of experience and placed on the lettered step equivalent to their year's experience. Veteran employees are being told that steps do not equate to years of experience. This leaves considerable discrepancies in pay between veteran and new teachers. Due to the years the district has not granted steps, veteran teachers are 4 or more years below new staff members coming to our district who are credited all their years. This is devastating to many veteran employees. Dr. Miller has acknowledged this issue, and for that I'm grateful. And I have explained that this not only affects our teachers, but support staff and classified staff as well. What is most concerning, however, is the justification of stipends to central office staff who are filling vacancies and work extra on the bond issue. These stipends total over $60,000 to central office staff who are said to be going above and beyond their job duties. But what you may not realize is that many staff members are being asked to go above and beyond their job duties with absolutely no compensation. With the adoption of a new math curriculum, and in some instances new language arts curriculums, many of these content area teachers are now spending several hours every single night preparing and familiarizing themselves with new lessons, not to mention making several modifications to accommodate the various needs of students in their classrooms. Teachers are also asked to stay after school and provide 8, 10, 15 hours of supervisory duties unpaid. 15 hours is equivalent to 2 full unpaid workdays. We are asked to cover classes regularly when there are not enough subs to meet demand, and many times these are unpaid hours. So I ask, why are administrators who already make 6 figures a year being given additional stipends for work many are doing during their contracted times when teachers, support, and classified staff are working outside their contracted hours for no pay and are not granted the same courtesy? To further add insult to injury, the district has already taken steps to remedy the pay of elementary administrators who are also subject to inequalities in their salaries. Lee Summit NEA has been working for over a year to rectify salary inequities for our technology staff as well as some classified positions. We have had multiple conversations with Human Resources, which at many times proves to be stagnant. If I were hired in LSR7 school district tomorrow, I would be 6 steps higher on the salary schedule, making $12,000 more a year based on my education and level of experience. This affects my retirement, and it definitely affects my family. With the rising cost of insurance, many of the LSR7 employees are making less money this year than they did last year. Last month, a teacher shared with me she is making $160 less a month this year than she did last year. This is piano lessons, soccer shoes, or that special dinner with her family. $160 a month is groceries in some cases, or maybe even life-saving medication. This district is not taking care of its veteran employees, and it shows. Not only are we not being compensated correctly, we are being asked to do more and given less time. Whether it is book studies, over-documenting behaviors, prepping to add lessons to advisory. Excuse me. Dr. Rice.
I'm Dr. Rice, and I'm relinquishing my next 3 minutes to Heather.
Thank you. Whether it is book studies, over-documenting behaviors, prepping to add lessons to advisory, goal teams, clubs, and all the other things, some are now facing extreme pressure to attend training over the summer months, which is our non-contracted time. It has grown out of control. What is being presented at board meetings many times sounds great on paper, but it is cumbersome, laborious, and takes quality time out of our day that could be spent with our students. We are losing our ability to just teach our kids because of all the other to-dos thrust upon us. As you have placed these burdens on our shoulders, there is growing concern that the art of teaching is being lost as we have adopted the next best thing in curriculum. At the beginning of this year, our math teachers were handed a binder with a scripted curriculum and worksheets they must adhere to. They were repeatedly told they were not experts in their field. A 20-year veteran who has consistently and repeatedly closed the achievement gap in her classroom, had students consistently scoring above the district average on the EOC and MAP test, was told she was not an expert in her field. If she's not the expert, I don't know who is. So this May, she will walk out of a building full of colleagues and students she loves, leaving teaching 8 years before she receives full retirement. Lost is her expertise, her innovative practices, and mentoring to our new teachers. We have to make educators a priority in this district. We need to stop adding to their workload, and in fact, we need to begin finding ways to alleviate it so we can refocus on our students and their needs. Veteran teachers, support staff, and classified staff need to be compensated fairly, and we need to look for ways we can refocus our attention on what is most important, and that's our children. As you look around this room, there are committed teachers, paras, custodians, administrative assistants, bus drivers, technology, and maintenance staff. These are the people that greet our children every single day with a smile. Many are here tonight because they care and they have been caring for a very long time. My fear is when that care turns to anger and results in apathy. These are the people that campaigned for you, supported you, and voted for you. We supported you when you needed our help. We are now asking for yours. Please make us a priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Jessica Hill.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Hill, and I'm a teacher at Lee Summit West High School. When my husband and I got married 6 years ago, we made the decision to start our life in Lee Summit. This is a community I love and a school district that has been highly respected for many years. We wanted to raise a family here, work here, and have our children grow up in these schools. Our plan was to both get hired in Lee Summit, then finish our careers in these schools. I was hired by LSR7 5 years ago, and I was elated. I was getting a pay raise, better benefits, and I was coming home. You see, I'm a product of Lee Summit schools. I went to Hazel Grove Elementary, I went to Campbell Junior High, and I'm a 2006 graduate from Lee Summit North High School. When I first started at West and heard coworkers debating salary freezes and salary schedules, I was confused because I received all of my steps as years of experience when I was hired. I started my 4th year of teaching in Lee Summit on Step D, which is the 4th step on the salary schedule. As time progresses, however, I am now seeing and experiencing their frustrations. My salary has been frozen 3 times in the 5 years since I have been hired. However, teachers coming into LSR7 continue to receive all of their years of experience as steps on the salary schedule. I personally experienced this discrepancy this school year as my husband was hired to teach in Lee Summit. We both have a master's degree and are both in our 9th year of teaching. However, he came in on Step I, while I remain on Step F, making approximately $3,500 less than him. This practice is commonplace in Lee Summit. Veteran teachers have experienced numerous salary freezes since 2010, but new employees to the district receive all of their years of experience as steps on the salary schedule upon hire. It has come to our attention that Team LS suggests the board gives all teachers a step on the salary schedule that is currently being used this school year. This solves no problems. If I am on Step G next year, I should be on Step J based on my years of experience. Teachers who have been frozen will still be numerous steps behind. This is not an appropriate solution to a growing problem. Additionally, news of our benefits for 2020 added fuel to my already raging fire upon hearing of the almost 20% hike in premiums. I was in tears, again, at our staff meeting when my principal gave us this news because I was wondering how my husband and I would afford the additional cost with my salary still frozen. The money added to the base last year did nothing. My monthly premium is $472 a month to meet a $6,000 deductible. I am a mother to 2 small children. Aubrey is 3, and Harlow just turned 1 at the end of February. Those of you with children know the struggle of illness and doctor's visits with small children, but do you know the struggle of deciding, is this fever worth going to the doctor today? Because I do. My purpose in addressing you this evening is to ask you to see your teachers as humans. See us as people rather than jobs. See us as community members invested in Lee Summit rather than paychecks you sign once a month. Thank you for your time and for your consideration of my concerns.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Matt Turner.
Good evening. Hi. My name is Matt Turner, and I'm a product of the Lee Summit R7 School District. I began my educational career as a pioneer of Prairie View, an Eagle of Underwood, a Mustang of Campbell Middle School, and finally a Bronco of Lee Summit North. For the last 13 years, I've been proud to be a Titan, teaching history at Lee Summit West. When I was hired to teach history, I was informed that not a single teacher in my department had their master's in history. Knowing that it would be more difficult and time-consuming, I still chose to pursue that degree to the benefit of my students. Driving to Warrensburg twice a week during my first year of teaching while coaching multiple sports was not easy. I believed that the sacrifice would be worth it. Little did I know that this would be the most financially destructive decision that I had ever made in my life. Unfortunately, I completed my degree 4 months after the new salary schedule was put into effect. We had been told that steps do not equal years, and I found myself bumped back to step B. I'm here not to complain about freezing salary schedules. What I am here to discuss is that steps do, in fact, equal years. This became apparent after my wife was hired back in the district. She had begun her career at Lee Summit High School, left for a short period to work in Harrisonville, and upon returning to LSR7, she was appropriately and correctly given her years of service as steps. Although I had 5 years more experience, we found ourselves at the exact same spot on the schedule. Upon further investigation, many of my more recently hired colleagues informed me that they had all received their years of service as steps. The result was that many of them, all younger with less experience, were actually higher on the pay scale than I was. For a district that is striving for equity, this is wrong. Teachers who have been loyal to this district and have stayed here through turbulent times are not being justly compensated. When I was told steps do not equal years, that was a half-truth. For me, it did not. But for new hires, it was a common practice that steps do equal years. There is no denying this. I'm in my 13th year. I'm on step F. A, B, C, D, E, F. 13 years of experience, and I'm on the 6th step. That is inexcusable. Given the recent news of back pay for some administrators, this type of leveling must take place among teachers, or else you will begin to lose some of your most vital instructors. No one gets into teaching for the money, but when we are not being justly compensated, money does become a factor. Educators in their 13th year in Blue Springs make $7,500 more than I do. In Park Hill, the difference in salaries, $17,000. That's insanity. I love this community that I have always called home, but family comes first. Cost of living is up. Insurance has gone up. What will you do to rectify this situation? Approving a single-step movement is not enough. Changing the salary schedule and pay your veteran teachers equitably and fairly. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Rhonda Ireland.
Good evening, Rhonda Ireland, a proud R7 veteran, educator of 27 years. I want to express grave concern over the fiscal inequities that exist throughout the placement of new hires on the teacher salary schedule. New hires are being allowed to bring in their years of service, which is fantastic. Veteran educators are behind due to numerous freezes and no step movement. Board policy, GCBA, provides specific parameters around the teacher salary schedule, such as advanced degrees, etc., as well as additional provisions, which outline prior teaching experience of a prospective employee will be given credit for when placed on the salary schedule. All teachers in R7 are essentially rehired when they sign and submit their new contract. So why are there still discrepancies within our teacher schedule? What message is that sending to the numerous veteran educators, many in this room this evening, about their worth? Additionally, back to board policy, GCBA, and the additional provisions is the statement, and I quote, "The board may freeze the operation of the salary schedule when warranted by the financial condition of the district or other relevant reasons as determined by the board. Giving a percent on the base with no step movement, as was done in 2015-16, 17-18, and last year, 19-20, indicates that R7 was not in financial crisis, or they wouldn't have been able to add to the base. It is keeping teachers from advancing steps up the salary schedule. Last year, one of my new R7 colleagues was brought in with 21 years of experience and placed 2 steps below where I am with 27 years. I am glad that they have got their years, but how is that rational? I have been here since 1993, and what message am I receiving? What message are my veteran colleagues receiving? It is frustrating. I should have been at the top of the teacher salary schedule for the past 3 years. This is of major significance to my retirement. The cumulative effect of this is devastating, and it is an unequitable practice which has impacted numerous R7 teachers, as well as other employee groups. Some of these groups have pursued relief, and it has been provided by this board. I would like to advocate if that same rationale that was applied to leveling other salary scales to rectify discrepancies related to years of service and gender, such as the elementary principal salaries, to be applied to the teacher salary scale. And if that same rationale will not be applied, I look forward to getting to visit with you at another time for you to tell me to my face why that same rationale that corrected financial inequities in other salary schedules will not be applied to the teacher salary schedule, will not be applied to mine. This board, along with Drs. Miller, Carson, and Delsim, are the decision makers. You can make this right. You have inherited a system that does not value veteran educators, and it has been this way for years. There is no good time, especially with our important upcoming bond election, for this to be brought out to light. It shouldn't have to take a social media flurry of activity, grievances, or even further action for this to be right. Please consider this, and thank you for your time. Veteran educators have helped this district survive the stormy waters of recent years, and they will continue to lead this district forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. We will move to board reports 5.01. Mike, would you like to start, please?
Timing's everything, because one of the first committees, team workshops I attended was Team Lee Summit, which is Together Everyone Achieves More. And it's a group of representatives from across the district who are there to discuss concerns, issues around the educator survey, employee survey, salary, compensation, benefits. And we've certainly been deliberate and diligent in weighing the numbers and such, and look at a number of these public comments during our conversations at Team Lee Summit, and continue to move things forward. So it is and has been a productive group, and I think we're at a point where we as a committee are working very strongly to move topics forward. Other activities between last board meeting and this board meeting were really just wrapped around activities at different schools. The robotics competition, enjoyed that Saturday, February 29th. A couple of kindergarten classes where I was a guest reader at Trail Ridge Elementary, and hitting some of these other buildings. So our ears are to the ground. We're working hard on strong, difficult, tough issues, and I think we'll continue to move and focus on those decisions that are hitting us strongly, certainly. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Kim?
I have something exciting to report, but it's hard after listening to those folks. I'd like to report on Lee Summit Educational Foundation. I'd like to thank everyone who supported the Lee Summit Educational Foundation's 21st Annual Taste of Lee Summit last Saturday evening. We did have a great group of about 550 guests, plus 80 volunteers and vendors. It was a very successful night benefiting student programs across our district. Preliminary numbers indicate it was our best year ever, with a net income of approximately $153,425, nearly $20,000 more than any previous year. Thanks to our community for their generosity and matching grant opportunities. Next, I switch hats over to Lee Summit Chamber of Commerce Government Relations Committee. February 28th was the meeting of that committee, and it featured a presentation by Dr. Miller on our LSR7 no tax increase bond issue. And I just wanted to say that she did a very nice job of explaining all the aspects of the issue and fielding questions from the membership of that committee. I also had the opportunity in the last month to visit a couple of schools, which I love to do. I've got to go to Hawthorne Hill and be a mystery reader a few weeks ago for Read Across America Week for first grade, so that was a lot of fun. And also, just yesterday, got to visit Lee Summit North's AVID program, and I'll say something more about that when we get to that item. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kim. Dennis?
We had, last few weeks, had business roundtable, very good meeting, and very involved in great discussions about a variety of things. Citizens Advisory Committee met this past Monday, and as we gear up for the bond issue, and again, very good input from that meeting. And in just a little while here, we'll give you an update on the finances.
Great. Thanks, Dennis. Judy?
Mr. Allen and I were in attendance at the February 26th TIF Commission meeting representing the district and the Board of Education. At that meeting, a decision was not made at that point in terms of a vote on approving that particular TIF, but was rescheduled to a later date. And then the only other meeting since our last board meeting was the CAC meeting Monday night. And I don't have anything really much to add except that we did receive an update from the lobbyists for the greater consortium of Kansas, the school districts in the metropolitan area, which was, I thought, very informative to the participants in the audience of the CAC.
Thank you. Jackie?
Thank you. As I mentioned with the robotics recognition, I attended 2 days of the First Tech competition, and I was able to add to my Lee Summit R7 t-shirt collection. Since we had two teams in competition, I could have each of their numbers printed on each of the arms. So that was kind of a fun thing to be able to do to support them. Also, was able to attend one of the constituent groups. Suburban Balance had recognition of several women in the metropolitan area, but notably, they recognized Lee Summit North Counselor Robin Williams Gray last Saturday. So it was very exciting to see her recognized in front of 400 members of the Suburban Balance organization. In addition, I've had the opportunity to visit Washington, D.C. before travel was a major concern, and visited with one of the U.S. congressmen who represents the school district, which was Sam Graves. And then also Jefferson City, I think I was, the last day it was open to the public. The Capitol, it was shut down the next day, Wednesday, and had the opportunity to visit with several members of our delegation. And I guess I would probably summarize those thoughts with Gideon John Tucker, who was an American lawyer who lived until 1899, who has the famous quote, "No man's life, liberty, or property are safe while the legislature is in session. I may report here that they are out now for 3 weeks due to the virus. I think we're safe."
Thank you. Ryan?
Just two things. I was also at Taste of Lee Summit here. It was a wonderful event. Thank you to everybody who helped volunteer at that particular event. It's always a very, very good time. And then I was at Finance Committee with Dennis yesterday, but he'll get to report on that. That's it.
Great. Thank you. I was also at Taste of Lee Summit with my whole family, so it was a fun Doan night out. That's a rarity anymore. Lee Summit Cares, we're working on the Got Talent, so if you know of any students that have some major talent, we have auditions in April, and then it will be at Lee Summit High School on June 13th, so that's always a fun event and a lot of talent going around. And that is it for our board report, so we're going to move on into the really fun finance 6.01 through 6.03.
School board member gave me the opportunity to read this tonight. I think it's about as big as War and Peace, but we will go through this here. So, all right, there we go. The finance transfer of funds of $2,783,800.63 is needed from the general fund to their special revenue fund to cover expenses for the month. Investments through February total of approximately $144.2 million. Revenue and expense report, expense percentages are within expected budget parameters, and the current fund balance for February is 44.85%. Facilities, Henderson Engineering Incorporated, Richardson Elementary School intercom system. Richardson Elementary School has an existing intercom system that is original to the school. With the age of the system, parts are difficult to come by and failure within the system becoming more frequent. This item is a proposal from Henderson Engineers Incorporated to provide professional services to generate bid documents, which are specifications and drawings. Henderson Engineering Incorporated is also with Pleasant Lee Elementary School fire alarm system. Pleasant Lee Elementary School has an existing fire alarm system that is original to the school. Original parts for this system are incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to find. This item is a proposal from Henderson Engineering to provide professional services to generate bid documents against specifications and drawings. Roofing repair services district-wide during the summer of 2019, the district's roofing consultant, Benchmark, Inc., performed a district-wide assessment of the roofs of our building. This is an assessment. Through this assessment, 30 sites were identified as needing roofing repairs. An RFP was generated which contained 4 bid packages. Delta Innovative Services is being recommended for the 3-year bid package, and Call Roofing and Sheet Metal is being recommended for 1 bid package. Construction and maintenance update. The Finance Committee reviewed updates on the following projects: the Woodland Sewer improvements, Westview roof improvements, district-wide roofing improvements, Lee Summit West retaining wall improvements, and planning for future projects. And we have some other items here. Tanya Ward Singer Consulting is a leading expert in universal instruction to serve English learners, EL. She will lead professional learning with EL teachers as well as identify regular education teachers who serve EL students. The goal is to grow the capacity of regular education teachers in Lee Summit R7 to best serve EL students. Convergent Data Center Refresh. The Technology Department is recommending the replacement purchase of a new data center infrastructure per their long-range technology capital plan. Much of the equipment is no longer going to be supported by manufacturer support, and the warranty is incoming months. Dell staff and lab technology replacement 2020. The Technology Department has a replacement cycle of 4 years for most staff and student lab equipment. This item will be the summer 2020 replacement schedule for all staff laptops and desktops as well as student computer labs. E-rate Category 2 Equipment and Service Award. The district applied for E-rate Category 2 services for the 2020-21 school year. Category 2 eligible expenses include equipment and services for the infrastructure to support wireless connectivity, including access points and local area networks. Technology is recommending the district accept the bid for equipment and services from Converge 1. The E-rate funds from Category 2 will help offset the expense of the equipment by 50%. Unipac Corporation. In February 2020, the Purchasing Department issued a bid for trash liners. A team from purchasing and facilities custodial staff reviewed the bid responses. The evaluation team felt that Unipac Corp was the best overall value for the district. Health supplies, yearly contract. In February 2020, the Purchasing Department issued a bid for health commodities. A team from purchasing and the health services staff reviewed the bid responses to determine the overall best value for the district. Individual line items for each line were then awarded to various vendors. Purchasing and distribution program evaluation. The committee reviews the purchasing and distribution program evaluation. Stifle, underwriting finance services. The current underwriting services agreement with George K. Baum will expire at the end of June. George K. Baum merged and is now called Stifle Nicholas and Company, Incorporated Stifle. The underwriter engagement agreement for this item will begin July 1st, 2020, and run through June 2025. The pricing sheets that we are currently under will remain unchanged throughout the term of this existing agreement. Robert Half and Corp. Temporary staffing. The Business Services Office's immediate need for a temporary staffing that possess a certain accounting level, skill level. This contract for temporary staffing is to cover the shortage in the department for the next 6 months. Excuse me, Madam President, I have a couple items needing a vote. I would move 6.02 to approve the transfer of $2,783,800.63 from the general fund to the special revenue fund.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you. Item 6.03 to approve the treasurer's report. I move to approve the treasurer's report and payment of bills.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
It's just that time of year for a lot of things that go on.
Okay, items 7.1 through 7.4, items for decision.
I move to approve the consent agenda items as presented in 7.01 through 7.04.
Okay, does anyone have discussions on those items? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, 8.01, items of decision ratifying contracts over $5,000.
I move that the board ratify the use of the national cooperative contract through HGAC with Robert Half International Incorporated for temporary staffing needs in the Business Services Office.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? We move to 9.01. Contracts over 5,000.
I move that the board approve new contracts over $5,000 as presented in the consent agenda items 9.02 through 9.15.
Second.
Okay, we have some discussion. Kim?
Yes, as I indicated earlier, one of the items in our items for decision is 9.02, advancement via individual determination, known in our school district as AVID. Yesterday, I did have the opportunity to visit Lee Summit North High School. I was very happy to be invited to do that. All of us were invited to do that. It was a class of 12 seniors taught by Tracy Reisinger, and it's really cool that this particular class has qualified, these 12 seniors have qualified for $900,000 in scholarship assistance to colleges and universities. 12 students. And these courses are aimed at students who are academically in the middle, and they provide many strategies to assist the students in meeting their both college and their career goals. And these strategies that they're actually have been proven to help bridge the achievement gap. And so I can't tell you how very impressed I was with those students. Tracy had each of the students stand up and state what particular method they had used in class that had helped them in their journey to feel empowered and successful. And that's exactly what we want to see, is those kids feeling great about themselves and realizing that I can have a career goal and really set their mind to it and go for those goals. And I have to give Tracy a lot of credit and all of our AVID teachers a lot of credit, because their whole method of operation is designed to do exactly that. And bringing in guest speakers, career speakers for those kids, and giving them inspiration. And several students talked to that. One of her students is even shadowing the CEO of Lee Summit Medical Center right now. So I just am very thankful for the AVID program that we're using in all of our high schools, and appreciate that for our kids. So I wholeheartedly support our endorsement of that through our funding.
Thank you. Ryan?
Yeah, I meant to ask Kyle this question yesterday, so I apologize. On the roofing repair contracts that we did, the way we took those out, what was the timeline for those repairs that we were actually going to be trying to make to all of the buildings? I apologize, I didn't ask you yesterday morning. I totally forgot. So.
The larger majority of the repairs will be done over the summer, but to get some better pricing, we did offer to the roofing companies that they could do some work before school gets out, and even in the fall after school starts, as long as it's work that doesn't create any noise in the building. And so we're still working on the schedule of what that could be, but we did give them some flexibility.
Okay, thank you.
All right, if there's no other questions, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you. We go down to items 10.01 through 10.05, items for decision.
The compensation and benefit package is there for your review. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
I just think it would be helpful for us to understand a little bit more, because I am not on Team Lee Summit. I've never been on Team Lee Summit the last 3 years. I know I've read all of the comments that the teachers have given when they filled out their Team Lee Summit surveys, but I haven't experienced those meetings and how that process works. So could someone just give us a quick rundown on how Team Lee Summit arrived at this proposal?
Madam President, point of order, excuse me. I think we need a motion before we have discussion.
All those in favor? Oh, no motion, sorry. Jackie, would you like to make the motion?
I'll make the motion so we can have the discussion. The administration, I move that we accept the recommendations for the compensation and benefit package for 2020, 2021 as presented.
Second.
Dr. Delson, would you like to come to the podium, please?
Good evening. I'd be happy to fill that in for you. And we have two representatives from our Board of Education that serve on Team Lee Summit. We also, in Lee Summit, have a good group that works with us. And Team Lee Summit is over 20 years in the making. Dr. Stansberry and several people in the audience have served on that team and developed that work. It's a collaborative team of administrators, certified staff, and classified staff. We have meetings throughout the school year, and we have a facilitator that guides us through those meetings. Dan Finn is our facilitator, our superintendent, a representative from each teacher organization is in the gallery, if you will. And then we have guests that come throughout at the request of the team to present additional data to us. So how we arrive at the recommendation to the superintendent's leadership team for the salary and then further recommendation to our Board of Education is by consensus. So we will go through a series of data, series of information, lots of discussion, and then bring that recommendation forward. You're welcome.
Judy. I have a comment and a question. The board agenda item that's presented on this particular 10.01 does not include any financial information, and I find it very concerning. I've asked for that earlier in the week and did receive that, but my expectation probably was that it be included in the board packet, because I do think that's valuable information for our staff and our community to see the amount of money that's being dedicated to salary and benefit package. So I would ask at some point that that be added as part of this agenda item. And my question is in terms of some of the comments that have been made this evening, and that I think there's been some probably previous conversations. Have we done any analysis of looking at steps for those individuals whose steps don't equate to their years of experience, and what kind of financial impact that would have on the district?
There's two parts to that. First, there was a comment about the financials, so I'm going to let Mr. Metz speak to that briefly, and then we'll address the other.
The financials is the first attachment on the documents. It's the 2020-21 proposal for salary increase PDF. If you open that up, I think that gives you what you were looking for. I should have made that more clear when we did the submittal sheet.
Will you provide that?
It's the first attachment. It's the
I see that. I don't know that our audience can see that. We might as well share the numbers, yeah?
It's on the public site.
Okay.
They can access it.
On here? Okay.
So the second piece to that, have we gone back and done a thorough analysis? And again, I think we've done a preliminary overview, and Mr. Metz also did this, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
So
regarding past years, if we went back and looked at reinstatement of starting back to 2012, 2013.
So we started a preliminary look back. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to have to be taken into consideration when we start looking to determine what people's placements are on the salary schedule. In my opinion, the only way we can properly do it, we're going to have to evaluate each individual person as they were hired. Because when we run the data out of the system, it gives me a very wide variety of differences. So what we did is we took the current step, compared it to what the system says is their years of experience, and it gave me a large range of differences. Some people were off steps by -20, some were positive 31. So we're going to have to evaluate each individual person, determine how they were placed initially on the salary schedule, and then look to see if we can make adjustments. So to have a number quickly, I don't know that it'll be easy to do. I can estimate based on a 4-year, or 3 years step. it's gonna run anywhere from $5 to $8 million, but to actually address it and analyze every single person, it's gonna take some time to get that done. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Does that answer everybody's? It's gonna be a complicated process to get through it.
But I-
It could be done, but it's just gonna take some time to get it done.
Kim?
I'm going to echo what I just heard you say. I think we should do that. I really do. I know it's a lot of work, but I think we've got people falling through the cracks, and we're not honoring some of our most experienced employees, and that includes our classified staff.
True.
I think our classified staff was, yeah. I think when we went to EMS, how many years ago was that? 2012. It just completely knocked back many people with on their years of experience, and they lost ground significantly. And so they could be making a lot more money right now than they are, but they were kicked back. So I've been hearing this for a couple of weeks now from folks, and I knew it was there. I mean, any of us who've been employed by the district, I mean, I can tell you myself in the number of 30 years that I was employed in the district, I think my salary was frozen like 3 or 4 times. So, I mean, I could have retired out at a higher salary level too, but I just accepted it, you know.
Well, and I just want to make sure we're saying the same thing. In 2010, there was a true freeze due to financial situation, right? In 2013, 2015, 2017, nope, 15, 17, and 19, excuse me, there were increases to the base. And that's where we got off with recognizing years of service. It did start with EMS placement. And then also when we increased to the base. There were increases in salaries, keep that in mind. But again, we still have the placement issue, which is being addressed, or that was mentioned earlier this evening.
Do we have any other direction for Wes? Okay. Oh, Mike.
I'm on Team Lee Summit, first year on Team Lee Summit. I would say Dr. Delsim's assessment of the goal and the purpose of a Team Lee Summit is to thoroughly vet the numbers of salary, what's available budget-wise, where that keeps us, where that puts us. We did have a broad discussion as to where our salary recommendations and the percentages affect each person, support
Correct.
educators, you know.
And I might jump in. I'm very conscious of valuing our norms and our process within that team and sharing that. Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
Well, no, it was a very, I think, very thorough, in-depth conversation. Probably became a little more granular and specific maybe later than we thoroughly wanted it to, and probably needed to get to that harder discussion maybe sooner. I don't know that it would have changed any of these numbers, but we could have maybe heard the opinions earlier in Team Lee Summit than we did. That being said, we've talked about work and healing, collaborating, moving forward as a district. And I think that took us a little bit of time in Team Lee Summit, recognizing where each person was in that dynamic. So I think this year's work as a collective group was positive. It doesn't achieve, I think, all of the goals, as Kim may mention, but I think that we're recognizing both as maybe as a board, and I'm only one speaking up here, but as a board where this is. And I think in Team Lee Summit, we're recognizing very strong conversations and educators, representatives that are on Team Lee Summit, and not to dismiss support staff, because they were very vocal, and we talked about support staff a lot in Team Lee Summit. So sort of we're squeezed between this, all right, there's a $4 million number here, and where that can impact everybody on that salary structure and move everybody forward. So I would say the work is ongoing. I'd say Dr. Miller, as an administrator and our superintendent at this time, is listening firmly and recognizing in a positive way that addressing Team Lee Summit in a way to say, look, this isn't going to be a fix tomorrow, but it's certainly on the strong radar to move forward in a 2021 and forward, or 21, 22, I should say. So it's a lot of words to maybe say a very little, but save it to say that it's an educational experience in there when you have some very strong academics, very strong analyticals, and everybody's equally heard. It was, and it's on there. So, thanks, President Doan.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion?
I'm not sure. Team Lee Summit is 20 plus some years old. Yeah, and I can remember when that started. And it's a great thing. I cannot speak to, I can remember I know the salary schedule as it used to exist. I really don't know, not been involved with the system that we're under now. The key thing to this has always been, it's not only our teachers, it's our support staff, they've all had a place at the table. Dan Finn has been the coordinator of this ever since it was instituted back in 20 years ago, I guess. This is more of a question than I don't know how much time we would have if we were to table this tonight, go back and look at those different ranges. Not that we can solve the whole problem in 1 year or in one time.
I'd like to make a comment. To evaluate every single employee is going to take months. This is not something I can do in a week.
Okay.
I mean, I would have to pull my whole staff off of everything and just put them on it. I don't, and it isn't just going to be me evaluating. I'm going to have assistance from HR, because we'll have to pull out everybody's personnel file, review what has been collected to get a true understanding of how they were placed at the time they were placed. It's not going to be an overnight thing. So we can table it, but I don't know that I can get it all completed by the next board meeting.
Kim?
I just wanted to say, I think we need to go through that process, and even if it takes us several months to complete that, I think we need to go through that process so we know what we're looking at, so that we can determine what we need to do about it. We may not be able to handle that immediately tonight, or, for this contract year, but we need, if we need to make amendments later, I suppose we can. But we're also talking, if we're talking, what'd you say, $5 to $8 million, a range?
That's just a very rough estimate.
Rough estimate.
Until we get into it and
We also have to be fiscally responsible to our budget. I mean, folks, 70% of our budget is salaries. 70%. Okay, so you have to leave money to operate the rest of the district too. So we know we can't make fixes all at once if it's going to be that huge of an amount, but we can certainly make progress towards fixing it. Even if it's incremental, I would hope. And I can't make any promises. I'm just saying I think we need to look at it.
Respectfully, I think we're converging issues, right? We have an item for decision in front of us. And I think that's where we need to be right now, is whether we're going to, the board will take action on that tonight or not. And then we've heard through public comment. And that's a separate discussion on how to move forward.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Aye. Thank you. 10.02, reemployment of administrative staff and contracts. Can I get a motion?
I move that the board reemploy the administrative staff listed in the attached PDF document.
Okay, do we have any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, moving to 10.03.
I move that the board reemploy the probationary teachers listed in the attached PDF document.
Do we have any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay. 10.04, new personnel request.
I move that the board approve the human resources non-allocated requests as listed in the attached document. Or non-allocated requests as presented. I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong statement.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion on those? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, 10.05, our personnel report. Can I get a motion, please?
I move to approve the personnel transactions as presented in contract issued.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Dr. Delsam, do you have any special announcements this evening?
I do this evening. I have some special introductions with your approval of the agenda. So our first introduction this evening is Christy Barger. Christy? Oh, there we go. All right. We know Christy. She is currently serving as our interim district administrator who is managing our LSR7 equity plan. She also serves, I better put my cheaters on for all of these. We've got 4 to go through. So everybody sit back and relax. We'll have some bios here. She currently serves as our Executive Director of Assessment and Data Analysis for R7. She will now serve as our district's Assistant Superintendent of Equity and Student Services beginning July 1st, 2020. So, a little bit about Dr. Barger. She has worked in education for 22 years, including 21 years with R7. She previously worked in Raymore Peculiar School District as Director of 712 Curriculum and Assessment. Before her tenure in RAPEC, Dr. Barger served as a communication arts instructor and then assistant principal at Lee Summit High School for a total of 12 years. A Lee Summit resident, Dr. Barger earned her bachelor's degree in English and Communication Studies and her Missouri and Iowa teaching certifications from Cornell College. Her master's degree in Education Administration from the University of Kansas and her doctorate of Education and Missouri Superintendent Certificate from KU. Welcome, Dr. Barger. Rachel Johnson. Did Rachel? Okay. I'm sorry I didn't get to greet everyone this evening before the meeting. Rachel is currently the assistant principal at Greenwood Elementary and Longwood Farm Elementary, and we got to celebrate Longwood this evening. Longview, sorry. Thank you. Rachel is going to serve as our new principal for Greenwood Elementary beginning July 1st. Ms. Johnson has worked for the Lee Summit School District since 2005. Before becoming assistant principal at Longview Farm and Greenwood, she served as a beginning teacher assistant program facilitator, a graduate instructor, and a general education teacher at Hawthorne Hill Elementary for 2nd, 3rd, and 6th grade. A Lee Summit resident, Ms. Johnson earned her bachelor's degree in elementary education from William Jewell College, her master's in curriculum and instruction from the University of Missouri, and her education specialist degree from the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Welcome, Rachel. All right, Dr. Whaley. Dr. Whaley, currently the Director of Instructional Technology for Lee Summit R7, will serve now as the district's Executive Director of Technology beginning July 1st. Dr. Whaley has worked for the Lee Summit School District since 2012. He previously served as an assistant principal and activities director in the St. Joseph School District, as a technology coordinator and classroom integration specialist and social studies teacher in the North Kansas City School District, where I'm proud to say I hired him. A Lee Summit resident, Dr. Whaley earned his bachelor's degree in history and his secondary social studies teacher certification from Park University. His Master's of Education in Information Science and Learning Technologies from the University of Missouri, his Education Specialist degree from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and his Doctorate of Education from Mizzou. Let's welcome Dr. Whaley. Now, for those, we have one more introduction who is not able to join us. But for those who I just introduced, Dr. Barger, Dr. Whaley, and Ms. Johnson, do any of you have guests with you that you brought this evening that you'd like to introduce? I do see some smiling faces with us. All right, Dr. Whaley. All right. Thanks for joining us tonight. Ms. Johnson. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Barger? All right, all right. They got the comfortable seats. All right. And as I said, we have one more introduction. Dr. Patrick Shelton, he will be our new Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Education. He is on the St. Louis side this evening, so did not make the drive to join us. But Patrick Shelton, currently the Customized Learning Coordinator at Parkway School District in Chesterfield, Missouri, will serve as the Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Education, once again beginning July the 1st. Dr. Shelton has worked in education for 24 years. Before his tenure with Parkway School District, he served as an elementary school principal and as a director of vocal music. Dr. Shelton belongs to several professional organizations and is a founding member of the St. Louis Area English Learning Partnership, a member of the Association of Supervision and Curriculum Development, a member of the National Association of Gifted Children, and a member of the Teaching English as a Second Language. Dr. Shelton earned his bachelor's degree in music education from Culver Stockton College, his master's in education administration from Southern Illinois University Edwardsville, as well as his specialist and his doctorate from that university as well. Let's welcome Dr. Shelton. Thank you, President Doan.
Thank you, Dr. Delsim. I don't know their sports preference, but I'm hoping that Royal Blue with Dr. Shelton and Dr. Buck, that we can get them into some blue on that. He's going no. All right. Item number 11, we have some presentations. Purchasing and distribution program evaluation.
Good evening.
Hello.
I am here to present the annual report for purchasing and distribution for the 1920 school year. We are making important connections every day. Our mission is to provide exceptional customer service for all of our students, staff, and community by ensuring that our board policies are all in compliance for our bids, proposals, contracts, and agreements. We're providing the best value on all goods and services and delivering quality products and services in a timely manner to all of our district buildings. Our core values: improving processes and streamlining those contract review processes and procurement processes, understanding and responding to our customers' needs, being transparent and fair in all of our practices while retaining the integrity and confidentiality of our district data, and continuing to be a leader in innovation. We connect with school board priorities and CSIP by, again, ensuring those board policies are followed in our bidding processes and with our contract reviews, utilizing centralized purchasing strategies and cooperative contracts to increase that buying power, sharing information by posting our bids on our new Ion Wave software system for our bids and our contract administration, and by working with facilities recently to establish a furniture standards team to explore and recommend the use of innovative learning environments, including that flexible furniture. You will see by our org chart that we're kind of a small team, but we're very mighty. There are only 3 of us that process all of the bids and all of the contracts. We have 4 dedicated delivery drivers that deliver everything all over the district and also in our community, which I'll talk about a little bit later. We have 2 inventory specialists, 1 part-time distribution worker, and then we also partner with the Lee Summit High School and hire at least a couple of students, workers through the SBE program. To highlight purchasing first, our bids and RFPs, we've evaluated and created 52 bids so far this year. And that number, of course, is going up every day. This number doesn't take into consideration all of the contracts that are up for renewal. So these are just new bids that we work on. Contracts and agreements, we've reviewed over 400 so far this year. And you've approved them. So you've done a lion's share of the work too. This graph just shows you that for the last 3 years, those numbers on our bids and RFPs have remained kind of steady and constant. We're hovering around the 50 mark. And for contracts and agreements, we've hovered closely around the same number for the last 2 years. New district-wide contracts that we have, this is where we talked about that, your buying power, consolidating purchasing, and these are some of the contracts that we've identified this year to do that with. Beverage and snack vending, that is not a new contract, but it is definitely one that we're revamping and going back out to bid. AV classroom presentation tools and copy and print services are also ones that we've had in place before and are just going to renew. Speaking and consulting services, that is something new for us this year. We've identified a need where We bring in a lot of speakers and have a lot of consultants that come into our schools, and a lot of them are kind of expensive. So they're over our bidding threshold, which means that to bring somebody in, a lot of times, well, we have to go through the bidding process for those. So what we're going to do is create an RFQ and ask for their qualifications and vet them ahead of time and create one long list so that when staff throughout the district has the need for a speaker or a consultant, they can just go to the list, know that they've already been vetted, and contact that vendor and work with them directly. So that will streamline that process and help them along. To highlight distribution, we've got some big numbers over here. My 50 little contracts kind of pales in comparison. We manage over $3 million in inventory assets. We maintain over 1,300 boxes of archive records. We have 2 SBE students that we've hired this year, and from the onset of when we started working with Lee Summit High School, I think that brings us up to 15 students that have come and worked for us in any way, shape, or form. We're kind of popular. We found out just recently when we interviewed these last 2 students, we said, why do you want to work here at the warehouse? It's kind of dirty, there's no air conditioning, there's no heat. What drew you to us? And they said, well, we heard when we turn 18, you teach us to drive the forklift. So we're like, hey, okay, we're cool. Didn't know that. We've processed over 6,000 stores inventory orders. Those are the orders that our staff use. They create orders, stores inventory orders, and send those to us electronically. We pull those items, palletize them, put them on a truck, and deliver them. So that's quite a feat for 4 people. Work orders, we've completed over 1,900 requests for services, and that could be moving wrestling mats from one school to another, delivering tables and chairs for a special event, those sort of things. Gov deals, we've managed $106,000 in sales so far this year. That number for the deliveries in the schools, this kind of puts it a little bit into perspective. We have delivered 1.8 million student meals. We've delivered over 5,400 cases of copy paper. We've delivered over 3,600 cases of paper towels, and that number will go up. Delivered 2,800 bags of ice melt, and delivered 1,800 cases of toilet paper, among other items, office supplies, health supplies. We've got it all. Piecing together our district with our local community. We have members of our staff that participate in the Heart of Summit race. They also participate in Race for the Future and Taste of Lee Summit. The mayor's Christmas tree lighting, Oktoberfest, and the Heart of Summit race, we partner with the community, with the city, and we provide them tables and chairs for those events. Those are our tables and chairs that are there at Oktoberfest. We do clean them off after we get them back. Yeah, a little bit of beer there. Then we also partnered, or we participated with a special project that the Nutrition Services group had kind of spearheaded, and it's called Project Night Night. And that is where they provide a tote filled with a book, a blanket, and a stuffed animal for our kiddos that are 12 and under that have been displaced. When they show up at the shelters, they're presented with that tote bag, and hopefully that will make a difference for them. Recycling, it's not very lucrative anymore, and it's not popular. Well, it is for us, but it is the right thing to do still. Cardboard recycling, so far this year we have recycled 128 bales. That sounds like a small number until you stand next to one of them. They're about 4 foot tall. 45 inches wide and weigh about 1,000 pounds. So our staff collect all of that cardboard from all of our buildings and also in our warehouse. So it's a big job. We have recycled over 4,700 light bulbs, and those are anything from street lights to projector bulbs to fluorescent bulbs. We take them all. It's not listed here, but we also take all of our batteries too and recycle those as well. And so far this year, shredding, we have shred over 29,000 pounds of shred. And we've also collected 9,300 pounds in a special community event that we hold every May. So all of those boxes of copy paper that we delivered, a lot of it got shred. People think that in purchasing we just spend the money. We actually bring in a little bit of revenue. Since our inception with GovDeals, we're pretty proud of this number. Since 2009, this year in 2020, we hit the $1 million mark in sales. And we have a little bit of beverage and vending commissions. For the last 5 years, we've collected $614,000. And repurposed surplus, that is something new that we have really started to concentrate on. That GovDeals number is nice, but we have some items that we notice were in very good shape. And we've always just had people request furniture and items in surplus and call us randomly and say, hey, do you have a bookcase? Do you have a chair? So on and so forth. Well, we have made a concentrated effort now to, when those items come in, to take a picture of them, give a little bit of information, send that out in an email to principals, principal secretaries, building managers, and say, hey, we've got this. It's free, to the first one that emails us. And a lot of times it's quite a frenzy. So it's kind of fun, actually. And we load it up and send it directly to them, and they've got a new free item. So there is the total so far of what purchasing has brought in, 1.6. This is just a shameless plug for the National Institute of Governmental Purchasing is the industry for our purchasing profession. That's where we get our certification, take our classes, and it's for all public professionals in purchasing. So you're talking your cities, your counties, your state people, not just your schools, but higher ed, everybody in public purchasing practically belongs to this organization. And March is National Public Procurement Month. And you can kind of see there's some of the feedback from people. It's never dull. We make a difference. We love procurement. We help those who need it. We protect our citizens. We learn something new every day, and no 2 days are ever the same. And we work with the best network of people. So that's my shameless plug for my profession. And actually, we're starting to see colleges actually have degrees in public purchasing, now. So we're gaining ground. This is just our little puzzle. We had a little bit of fun. We connect, making it all fit together. You can see our SBE students on the right. Our purchasing staff is in the top left corner. Below them is distribution. And then our part-time warehouse person. She didn't want to be singled out, but Jennifer explained to her that she needed a single picture of her for the puzzle to work. So she's in the place of honor, and I thank you very much. Do you have any questions for me?
Anybody have any questions? Thank you so much.
Yeah, all right.
All right. And then we had 3 written reports: facilities and maintenance, guidance and counseling program, health services program evaluation. Does anybody have any questions on those 3? Kim?
No questions, just a couple of comments, because I know folks out there in video land probably aren't getting to read those reports. Just wanted to say on guidance and counseling program evaluation, it's great to see that on your internal improvement review that your overall implementation of state standards is up at 87%. So that looks pretty good. The time on task tools is a valuable chart that shows us how much time is spent on the 4 core areas of school counseling, as well as the non-school counseling tasks. Our elementary schools show the most non-school counseling tasks at 12%, middle schools are at 10%, and high schools are at 4%. You may ask out there in our audience, what do we mean by non-counseling tasks? It's amazing to explore that a little bit, but I thought maybe it might be nice to know if Dr. Hill, I think, created this report. Is that right? Okay. I thought maybe, like, Dr. Hill would, maybe you could tell us what you think about our elementary and middle school counselors and what are counseling tasks and I've listed the 4 categories of counseling tasks, but what are non-counseling tasks?
Sure. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Non-school counseling tasks are those similar to testing during MAP and EOC windows, but also supervisions at the beginning of the day, end of the day, lunch duties, substituting for other teachers if they need to be out of their classrooms, helping in the focus room. So sometimes there are things that take counselors away from their normal programming, and our counselors work with their administrators to try and narrow this percentage every year. But high school counselors do not have to oversee the testing administration, but the middle school and elementaries, they need some extra help, and so the counselors take that on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you.
Jackie? Mine's regarding the health services report. And in part, I want to just draw everyone's attention. I know everybody's diligent about reading these reports, but as you take a look at the report, I've had a lot of concern expressed around coronavirus and asthma. And it's very encouraging to see that we've had this increased emphasis on working with our asthmatic kids. And if you scroll down into the middle of the report and you start looking at the data, it is incredible just between the past 2 years, the increase in the numbers of kids with influenza diagnosed in the school. I mean, if you look at February between 2018 and 2018-19 school year and the 2019-20 year, you went from 126 to 570 cases. That was pretty stunning. So I imagine the next year's report may be even more shocking for March and April. So I think it's important to note that these professionals are providing a vital frontline healthcare service to our kids in the school district, and it's not just asthma. I mean, there's several other areas of health concern, and then finally, the role that they were looking forward to in 2021, which I imagine they're getting a very strong dry run at improving or focusing on, which is the infection control work that they were planning to do next year. I imagine they are fully engaged in that now.
Thank you. Judy?
I had a question on the health report also, and then I had one on the counseling one as well. On the health services report, could you just give me a little bit of information in terms of how are the health concerns and the mental health concerns that are listed here, how are those determined? Are those self-reported, or is there, could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Carrie, do you mind coming up to the mic? Yeah.
That information is reviewed every
And I noticed that there were quite an increase in the number of staff visits from the prior year.
Thank you. Going out there to staff, that we aren't just there for students, that we are there for staff. We don't for students, but for our staff, we do have that ibuprofen and Tylenol that's needed, especially the week before spring break with coronavirus, the headaches it's caused. And we do a lot of staff screenings, blood pressure screenings. We do that for a lot of our staff.
Great, we appreciate all your work in your department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it okay for me to ask my counseling question
Yes.
now?
Yes.
I think, sorry,
Dr.
Dr. Hill,
Hill.
you'll have to come back for just a second. In that report, it talks about the 3 strands of the curriculum framework: social, emotional, academic, and career. I was just curious whether we have any, we do any time analysis on where we're spending that time. I know that time and task was in here, but I didn't see a direct correlation to those 3 strands. So I was just curious if they're tracking that some other way.
No, not at this moment, but the components of the school counseling program, the overall curriculum, the time in classroom, is represented in that percentage.
Okay, and it's in those 3 areas that's in the classroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I appreciate the clarification. Thank
Sure.
you.
Thank you.
Kim?
Yeah, just wanted to add just a couple of really interesting numbers that were in the Health Services report. It said between August of 2019 and February of 2020, there was a total of 162,098 health room visits or management activities by health room personnel. That's huge. It includes health room visits, and they even had numbers on, this is interesting, of the 69,351 actual health room visits, students sent back to class 63,292, or 91.2% were sent back to class. I'm sure some parents wonder if they ever send their kids back to class. Students dismissed to go home, 6,068, or 8.7%. The number of medications administered by the health room in that amount of time, August to February, 32,143 medications. That's just huge. And then treatments such as blood glucose checks, tube feeding, suctioning, et cetera, 19,184. I wish we could give all of our health room personnel a great big hand, because that is just huge. Thank you very much, Health Services.
All right, do we have any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, the meeting is adjourned.